What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Outside Line Media podcast with your boys, Patrick.
Ryan.
It's going to be a fun time recapping the 4.5 hour weather delayed Daytona 500 today.
What a day it was. It was Daytona Day, for sure. It was a day of racing. We're going to go over all the races because we personally watched all of them because
we don't have a life and we love racing.
Yep, indeed. So
what else are you going to do on Valentine's Day other than watch a truck race?
Amen. I mean, we had no better plans, so what do? We watched a truck race. And
Hell
the truck race was an interesting start to the weekend. It was a good race, I think, personally, until God.
All right, we're just leaving it. We're leaving it. I need to get myself an actual key light to put up.
Yeah, Patrick's light's been falling every 5 minutes for the past year. So
yeah, we've been trying to figure it out, but we're just it's staying in now.
Yep, that's how it's gonna be. So,
but yeah, truck race, yeah,
gas. I liked it until the end. Obviously,
NASCAR, like, don't throw a caution on the last lap. That's going to affect the lead of the race. They have a clean track to race towards. They can slow down in plenty of time before they get to the accident. I feel like that's self-explanatory.
Yeah, and yeah, that was kind of dumb. And there also was the disqualification, correct? Yeah. Number 75, Parker Clearman, ride height, brutal. You got to do what Wayne Byron did. You got to hit the wall. I don't care how you do it. You hit the wall. You bang up the truck.
That was the truck race that ended on caution, right?
I'm also thinking the same thing.
Because it wasn't between Jesse. No, that wasn't. Sorry, I was looking at. Yeah, no, that was.
It was caution and our caution.
Yeah.
But I think you're thinking of
I'm thinking of the duel that was decided under caution. Yeah.
Yes.
Which, I mean, that's a whole nother rant. NASCAR, don't throw cautions that are deciding a race. Like, we want good, exciting finishes. Of course, we want safety, but the front of the field, that doesn't really dictate what's going on behind them.
And they learned. They learned
for the cup.
They kept the cup race green until it wasn't. So yes, it was the duel. Sorry, we're late recording session tonight, 9:00. But it was duels where was the truck race was the disqualification for ride height, which kind of sucks. Rules are rules, though. You got to learn to make your truck hit a wall.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone does it. Just hit the damn wall. I mean, yeah, that's that. So Corey Heim takes the win, but
really it was Parker Kligerman.
Parker Kligerman's race. If it always sucks when someone has to celebrate and then gets told they didn't win the race. That stinks.
Yeah.
No matter who is involved.
I mean, especially when Parker Kligerman kind of just controlled that race. Like, I mean, that was his race. As much as I love Corey Heim, and as much as I think he's an amazing driver, Kligerman just did a lot more to deserve that race win. And I think Corey even said it himself. Like, he just didn't have the pace in the end to catch Parker's truck. And, I mean, it was just fully his win. That was before the disqualification and everything, but...
Yeah, it stinks. It always stinks, even to someone who wins, because, Corey Heim's not going to feel like he really won.
Yeah.
And Parker Kligerman gets a cool moment taken away from him. So, the weekend was kind of full of ups and downs, in my opinion.
Yeah, because then we moved on to the ARCA race, which...
Oh, my Lord, the ARCA race.
Look, I'm just going to say this. Cletus had a ton of fans tuning in, and they saw some of the worst racing I have ever seen in my entire life. That is not what NASCAR is, and now that is the impression people have of NASCAR that tuned in just for that race, just to see Cletus McFarland run. And that's a sad showing. Like, I understand ARCA's a ton of rookies, but how are we... I I stopped watching, honestly, an hour and a half into it roughly because they had run like 15 minutes of green.
Yeah, it was brutal. I mean, you could see it. I think it was a stark difference. You know, obviously you expect the skill to step up as you work your way up to the Cup. Obviously, that's a given. But I think the gap between Xfinity and Cup versus the gap between ARCA and Xfinity was kind of jarring to me.
Even between ARCA and Trucks.
Yeah.
And I mean, Trucks is very much kind of a daddy's cash series. I mean, that's kind of the joke, is that if you're running Trucks, it's because dad bought the truck for you. But I mean, just the jump in skill. And I mean, it could be something with the geometry of the cars. It could just be that ARCA cars are hard to race. I mean, we know they're hard to race on road courses. That's why ARCA brakes are a thing.
Yeah.
But you're not using your brakes on a super speedway. You're just trying to keep it in a straight line.
Yeah, and they couldn't. I mean, I get those cars are shitty, but my God, just watching the packs, just no one holding the line.
I felt like it was in an iRacing, not Draft Masters, Carburetor Cup lobby.
Yeah, and I get it. If the cars stink, then fix it. ARCA, make a better car. Use a better car for ARCA. And if it's the drivers, I mean, I don't know. It feels weird to me because obviously Cleese McFarland fan. It was really cool seeing that this weekend. I met Cleese McFarland in 2019 at LS Fest West. That is one of the nicest people you can ever meet. East? LS Fest East.
We're definitely not on the west side of the country, brother.
At Beach Bend, which is actually underwater right now, by the way. Fun fact.
Does that mean the Corvette Museum's underwater too?
That's a good question.
Does that mean this race I wonder if this race in March is going to happen then.
But Cleus, I met him in person. One of the nicest dudes ever talked to me and my buddy for like 15 minutes. Nice dude. Happy to see him. Sucks to end like that. And the racing was horrible. Yeah. I mean, now it was slightly entertaining. The 20 minutes total we had of actual racing was pretty good. But that's it.
Yeah. And I mean just Catherine Legg in that first incident, like I was excited to see what she could do because she had bad luck at Indy last year. I think she probably hit that bump in turn 4 at Nashville, and that's what caused her to crash out of Nashville. Look, don't take this as a dig at Catherine Legg. I think she's an amazing sports car driver. Just sometimes that doesn't translate well. So I was really excited to see what she could do in a car that's a lot closer to a sports car on an oval.
Yeah.
And she gets taken out through no fault of her own. And that was disappointing to me as a sports car racing fan, as an IndyCar fan, seeing how not being able to see how she actually stacks up in that field and how she can race on an oval in a car format that she kind of knows.
Yeah, it's a real shame, and it was just kind of a shitty showing from NASCAR. I mean, it wasn't just kind of let the weird taste in my mouth. I mean, all weekend leading up really had me worried about the Daytona 500. It came around, but the ARCA race, I was like, good Lord. Like, you're kidding me. Like, what are we doing? Like,
I was terrified for the Xfinity race later in the night. But, I mean, Butterbean got the win. So, I mean, at least we had somebody deserving get the win. Somebody who's a very skilled driver. And just a great guy overall. I like Butterbean. William Swalich came home P2 in that race, and then Jason Kitzmiller came home P3. Looks like it was a Toyota Chevy podium.
Yeah, Helio in 5th.
Yeah, I wish that could have happened in Daytona, but we'll talk about that later.
We will. After we talk about Xfinity race. Now, what are your thoughts on the Xfinity race, Patrick? How did it leave you feeling?
It was actually record TV viewership. Fun fact.
Really?
Xfinity was. So, I mean, not overall, but it was the highest rated race since Dega 22, and it was the highest season opener Daytona race since 2020.
Wow.
So, I mean, overall, I think it was a success. Getting eyes on the sport. It was a good race overall. I think definitely it was good racing. It was hard racing. Of course, just you're always going to have wrecks. You're always going to have wrecks at Daytona. It's always going to happen. Shame it was Connor Zilic taken out in this one. I mean, that's always who I'm going to cheer for.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
it's hard.
He's a prodigy, but Jesse Love, very deserving driver of that win. I'm excited for what he can do. He is a super speedway merchant, evidently, according to Zilly. They were kind of having a back and forth on Twitter. It's why I love both of those drivers.
Very funny. Very funny.
They don't let the PR training hit them too hard.
No, not at all.
I mean, that's one thing that I really do love about NASCAR compared to other motorsports is I don't think you'd see an interview, especially in F1. I mean, geez, F1 nowadays, where interviewer asks what someone's going to do and I'm a bust his ass.
I'm a bust his ass. Yeah, no.
Or you've got the classic Kyle Busch about to drop some wisdom quotes on you after a race. And yeah, that was, I mean, just overall, I think it was good racing. I think the Cup race was a little, I don't know. The ending was more exciting to the Cup race, I think.
Yeah.
But I think overall, throughout the entire field, the Xfinity race was better racing.
Really? I thought the Cup was the best racing.
Personally. I mean, from a skill standpoint, yes, being able to run 3 lanes, but then it's kind of just like slot cars.
Yeah.
Xfinity had a lot of just weird, bold moves popping out of nowhere, which is something I do like that those cars can do. And I mean, it's just the way the next gens are that they can't do that kind of stuff. And I mean, you can feel the difference. I mean, we know iRacing is the most realistic sim on the market. You compare a truck to a next gen. I mean, the next gen feels like a damn F1 car, basically.
It does. Yeah, honestly, on super speedways, the next gen is quite literally a Formula One car.
Yeah,
like it is so planted, it's unbelievable.
No, I mean, I'm sure teams trim that out.
Yeah,
to try to get a little less.
Speed. Oh yeah, I'm sure it's not as planted.
But just the nature of that car is it's a pretty planted car, and we saw that in the racing. We saw that with the drivers that were out there. What did you think of the Xfinity?
I liked it. It was a good race. I agree. I think it was definitely nice to see after having watched the ARCA race to make me not lose all hope for good racing at Daytona.
Yeah.
So I was glad. Obviously, we were together when we watched this doing something else. So we were probably 70% attention on this race, maybe 60%. So we might miss stuff, but it was a good race. I'd have to agree it was a good race.
And finally we got Cup. And then we'll move into our Cup predictions, which for our predictions for the NASCAR Cup Series, it's just going to be kind of on those marquee races. We're not doing predictions every single week for NASCAR. I just feel like it's a hard series to predict, and I think doing overall predictions on just big, stupid races is the move from us.
Daytona, Talladega.
Daytona again. All-Star race.
All-Stars. I think we should do some, I think personally we should do Chicago Street Course purely wreck questions.
Yeah.
How many, all that kind of stuff.
How many laps under green?
For real.
5. But yeah, William Byron with the win. Back-to-back Daytona 500 wins.
What a wild one it was. Long day.
Yeah, we got 11 laps in. Then we had a 4-hour rain, or probably 3.5 at that point.
It was like 3-ish.
3.5. Then we got 2 laps under caution, red flagged again for precipitation on track. And then we were able to run straight through, other than stage cautions and normal cautions. But yeah, I think definitely it sucks for Denny Hamlin. Nothing he did wrong in that to lose that race. That's just the nature of Daytona. Byron kept his foot pinned on that last lap. I mean,
The gates parted.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, you could take that pack that wrecked out and you could take 4 or 5 people. You're like, man, that's devastating. Like, for me, it's Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
Like, damn, that stinks. I mean, that whole last, maybe, I guess, hour of the race it would have been, was insane, I think.
I was going to say that was Kyle's was the wreck before that.
It was the wreck right before the wreck. Right before the green, white checkered.
That Logano and Stenhouse caused.
Yeah, that one was senseless. So
look, as much as I hate Joey Logano, that was Ricky Stenhouse.
It was Ricky Stenhouse's fault. Joey got pushed from behind. There was nowhere he could go. Yeah. Now, I can't say anything else about Joey Logano without throwing slander in. I would like to see the debris from those 2 debris cautions that very conveniently
super benefited him.
Stopped Joey Logano from going a lap down. I would just like to see.
Because we never saw the debris. The only debris I actually saw was a piece of plastic get taken by a car.
Yeah, I don't know.
So obviously they weren't going and clearing that debris. Let me pull up my notes app. We'll give a little recap of the big ones. We had 3 big ones. Big one was caused by Logano when he had the power issues with his car. Caused him to get backed up into the pack, and just accordion effect caused 10 cars to be involved in that wreck. Big one number 2 was the one we were just talking about, Ricky Stenhouse throwing a never on block on Joey Logano. He pulled a Logano on Logano. If you watched that race, you saw some of Joey Logano's blocks, and it was a Joey Logano block on Joey Logano.
Yeah.
That took 9 cars out. And then the final one on the last lap of the race, Cole Custer just decides to drop down the track. Don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, brother might not have been cooking.
Yeah, and then his spotter was calling the wrong car the whole time he was wrecking. Spotter thought they were going for a win. He was calling William Byron's car.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That was hilarious.
But yeah, that had to have been a roller coaster of emotions for that spotter.
Yeah, he thought he was about to win it, and then all of a sudden it was over.
Win it in the debut for Haas Factory team.
And NASCAR cooked because they didn't
throw a caution.
They didn't throw the yellow. They let it end under green, which cooked all one of our predictions. I mean, this race always ends under yellow.
Yeah, that was our free space prediction this week.
Yeah, and it was wrong. It was wrong. They let it end under green. Now, technically, it depends how you define ending under yellow.
They threw the yellow the minute Byron crossed the line.
Yeah, the minute the leaders are through, they wave that yellow. But
the win's the only thing that really matters in Daytona. I mean, points and all that kind of stuff, but the win's what matters.
Yeah, and overall, I think, Patrick, I think you brought up this point during the race. I like the rain delay because the commentators started running out of material. And that's when they work best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's when they work best.
Look, all I'm going to say is there's an Instagram account that has a lot of material from the end of that race.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm afraid of YouTube demonetization, so I'm not going to say it.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I had to say, I think this is a really awesome Daytona 500. There was obviously, it's Daytona 500, the crashing is the crashing, whatever. Daytona 500.
We got to talk about Ryan Preece, though.
Yeah. They removed the grass so the man could turn his Daytona car into an
airplane. Yeah, I mean, really just kind of mimicking the scenes we're seeing out of Toronto right now. I mean, like, to a T, caught up into the air and then just flipping over. Which, if this is in the future and somehow someone has died from this crash, even though everyone's stable, I'm sorry in advance. But right now, everyone's stable, so we're going to make some jokes about it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it was weird. His car came up. You're waiting for it to come down.
Yeah.
Like, it's coming down, and it just, boom. Wild, scary wreck.
I I think they got to figure something out with these floors, dude. It has to do with that aerodynamic floor. I don't know what the benefit of it is on a super speedway. I'm sure it's a pain to run a different floor on a super speedway, but man, we gotta fix this because that car hits a different way. He might not be walking away from that crash. He's lucky the back end of his car hit the safer barrier, but it hit on top of the barrier. That's not going to do much help safer wise. I mean, you hit the um survival cell or something like that, that could end really poorly.
Yeah, I mean, it was a scary wreck, and something he had an open wheel crash. Like, that was a textbook open wheel aero car crash.
Yeah.
And that is the last thing you expect from those hunks of metal, because it's a lot more dangerous to have those kind of wrecks when you're 3,500 pounds or whatever they are, you know?
Yeah, 30,
a lot more
mass. They are.
And I see why Ryan Preece is understandably frustrated, saying it's something has to change. He's not wrong. This whole weekend, I had this looming thought in my head about a bad wreck, because there was a lot of pretty gnarly hits throughout the weekend that...
Yeah, I mean, even Elio and I'm done with this light. Even Elio and, oh my gosh, Chastain's wreck was, I mean, lucky he had Elio there between him and the wall, I guess. Maybe cushioned the hit a little bit.
Yeah.
But
still brutal.
Still brutal. And then whose wreck was it that went into the inside wall? That one.
A couple that hit there pretty hard.
Yeah. In the trucks especially. That was an issue coming off of turn 4. And just flying full speed. Well, let's move on to our predictions, I think, Ryan.
Yeah, so how we're doing this is we're doing just a point system, correct or wrong. So correct to get a point.
End of the year, we're going to recap all of our points, see who did the best, and each weekend see who can predict that race the best.
Yes. So first thing with quali, we both went 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Because I predicted, we each got 4 corrections correct, 1 wrong.
Who did you have qualifying, Ryan?
I had Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex Jr., Chandler Smith, Justin Allgaier, and Helio off the waiver. So,
and that was
that got wrong was Chandler Smith.
Yeah, that was just how the heats fell, unfortunately.
Yeah, Chandler Smith kind of. I mean, your boy Corey LaJoy got the golden ticket, brother.
Yep. So I had Corey LaJoy, Elio making it on merit, Martin Truex Jr., and Justin Allgaier. Elio didn't make it on merit. He got crashed out in the kind of crashed himself out in the duels. I think he was definitely partially at fault for that. So I got 4 for 5 on that. Corey LaJoy somehow ended up being one of my best predictions and one of my worst predictions.
Wild.
We'll talk about that here in a sec. Top 5. Neither of us cooked here. I think we both got 1 point.
Yep, I had Jimmy Johnson in top 5. That is the only thing I did correct.
Yep, and I had Chase Briscoe in my top 5, and he ended up P4 in the race.
He snuck in there. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it was a. Mine was looking. I'm not gonna lie to myself. Actually, mine was not looking on. I had Elio, Martin Truex Jr., and AJ Allmendinger. Literally, like 3 of the first people out of the race.
I had Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Bubba Wallace, who all at points were there.
Yeah,
but it's
I
Daytona.
think all of mine except for AJ Allmendinger were there, because I mean AJ was like 10th lap or so. It was like right after the rain delay. I think he basically just pulled back into the garage with a blown engine.
Yeah, I mean it's Daytona, and that's one of the good things about it is 2 laps to go. You could get a whole new top 5.
Yeah,
you have no idea. You have ideas, but you have no ideas. I mean, yeah, everything gets shuffled. So on the hit the apex, Me and Patrick had a discussion on how he would score mine because you had to give me one of mine.
Yeah.
My hit the apex was Bubba Wallace, and I'm giving it to myself, okay? Up until he got wrecked, the man was cooking, okay? Bubba Wallace had
he was looking like he was going to win.
Yeah, he was right
until
there.
He got left behind on the third row, but
yeah,
you can always come back. You can always come back from that.
He was there and he didn't get it. Who'd you have for your hit the apex, Patrick?
Oh, I don't want to talk about this. I had the man who finished 8 laps down, Shane Van Gisbergen. He had damage from a wreck, so I mean, not entirely his fault, but that damage was so early. I couldn't even argue getting this. I can't even argue either of mine. My miss the apex was Corey LaJoie. I thought this was bang on. I thought he was going to cause a huge wreck. Everyone was going to, classic Corey LaJoie behavior. You know, the recklessness of gambling your child's college fund to get into the Daytona 500. But
I like to go on the record. That's not cool, Corey LaJoie. Yeah. That's not a flex. That's not something impressive. Don't do that. You're not good. You're definitely not worth your kid's college fund. Your kid's college fund's going to merit much more than your racing career. Well, I promise.
I'm sure his kid could probably have a better racing career than he does.
Sorry, I just want to say that. I just don't think it's cool to gamble with a kid's college fund.
Look, I don't think it's cool, but I do also, like, from a completely detached, logically perspective, it was, like, for the memes, it was kind of funny, but I do not recommend doing that, and, it worked out for him.
It's a ha-ha funny now. It's a ha-ha funny now.
But yeah, he was leading the race at one point. I kept telling Ryan he might actually win this race. Like, it legitimately looked like he had a good shot to win this race. What the hell?
Yeah. My main save X is Kyle Larson, and if we go with my same principle of Bubba Wallace, where he was running decent, Kyle Larson was running decent.
For a super speedway, dude.
I can't say he missed the apex on there at all. And yeah, it was a very interesting race, as we said. So, Patrick, I believe you got the right amount of big ones. You said 3.
We got 3 big ones, which I forget what we defined a big one as, but it was vibes, basically.
Yeah. I had 2. I was wrong. Patrick, I think you had Corey LaJoie causing the biggest one.
Yeah, I had Corey LaJoie causing the biggest one, which didn't happen somehow. Yeah, somehow we had Cole Custer, Joey Logano, and Ricky Stenhouse.
Yes, I was William Byron, who was one of the only of one of what I think 7 cars not involved in an incident.
Yeah, his car was pretty clean at the end of the day.
Yeah, so that was an L take. How many cars in the big one did you have, Patrick? Or no, you didn't. Yeah, how many cars?
I had 12 for how many cars in the biggest one. Off by 2. 10 was the number.
And as we spoke earlier, very happy day for us, fellas. The race did not end under yellow. NASCAR, we love you. Keep that shit up on that part.
Yeah.
You learned, you evolved.
You took the hate. You took the hate and actually grew from it, which is more than I can say you guys usually do. I will say I had some issues with the broadcast during the Daytona 500. The whole, the side-by-side was cropped really weird.
Don't get me started. There was a gap in between the ad and the screen, but then it butted up to the edge of the TV.
But then on the other side, there was a big gap. Like
why?
And
it was so many ads. They did 0 ads. They did hardly any ads during the when they're interviewing drivers. But then they do 1 million ads during the race, 50 laps to go. Just annoying on that.
That's my one big complaint is, I mean, it makes me. It's the duality of the IndyCar fan in me and the NASCAR fan in me. The IndyCar fan in me wants to praise Fox for everything they're doing for IndyCar. And the NASCAR fan wants me to scream at them for having a shit broadcast half the time.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how the IndyCar broadcast looks.
The amount of stuff that was just missed, and it's why are we under yellow? Why are we under yellow? Why are we under... I don't know how many times I said, why are we under yellow that weekend? And I just looked in the NASCAR app because I had better information from there, because it just tells you why they threw a caution.
I think if you're under yellow, I think you have to pull it out of commercial break. At least at the end of the next commercial, the current commercial. There's no reason to run
or like
three
if
more.
it's just a debris caution, pop up a little thing, like have a little thing under it, or
Yeah.
in the scoring slider and everything. Just put debris caution. Tell us why we're under yellow. That way I'm not looking at it. Why are we under yellow? And show the score ticker, a CW. Oh, I might have to watch Xfinity just for that CW ticker.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
They cooked with it. I look forward to actually seeing what the other broadcasters will have for their tickers to see kind of what it is. We've seen some kind of leaks for IndyCar, which I'm a fan of. They were just like rough drafts from a subcontractor, so who knows if I even saw anything close to the real one.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it, for the graphics package.
If we're talking NASCAR wise, I'm actually very excited to see how Amazon Prime does it.
Mm-hmm.
Because their football broadcast is really sick with the advanced analytics. I don't know if that's going to be a thing that they're going to have on the NASCAR races, but there's data there to be used.
Like the F1 stuff where it's like the AWS, like caught in so many laps. So you have to give me a non-stick and ball reference, Ryan. I don't watch those sports.
But yeah, no,
if it doesn't have tires, I don't watch it.
Other broadcasts, like there's a whole set of broadcasts, like highlights different stuff. It's cool. It's cool. I hope Amazon cooks it, but yeah. Hopefully IndyCar's better with the commercials.
We'll see in 2 weeks.
We'll see in 2 weeks. But it's getting kind of ridiculous. The amount of commercials in that race, I get it, but like when there's that much of a, how were those ad spots sold? Like the race was 4.5 hours delayed. You're telling me you have to have a commercial with 50 laps to go?
Yeah, if the Daytona 500 has ads in the last 30 laps, I am going to Fox's headquarters and setting myself on fire on the steps.
Calmest possible reaction, of course.
Yeah, I mean, completely reasonable reaction. I mean, it's not like we'll really know we're going to be at the Indy 500, so...
Oh, you said Daytona 500. You mean Indy 500.
Oh, did I say Daytona 500? I'm tired.
We are both tired.
Somebody had to work late today. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. We've got some cool stuff coming on the Saturday edition of the podcast this week. It's probably when we'll release it because we're recording on Friday, I guess. No, We're recording it on Wednesday. Yeah, because you're not home on Friday, right?
We'll figure this out.
We'll record it one day. It will be out on Saturday.
There will be an episode out on Saturday.
Saturday's episode is just kind of going to be what our 2025 looks like, and just kind of a little bit about what we do here at Outside Line Media, other than try to entertain you fine people on your Wednesdays and sometimes your Saturdays, depending on the week. Yes, so, thank you everyone for watching. Ryan, you got any final words?
Boogie boo, we went racing.
We went racing. They turned left.
They turned left.
They turned left. And sometimes right, unfortunately.
Seabell, they turned right.
Yeah, as a Seabell fan, I'm sure that wasn't fun, Ryan. As a Larson fan, I wasn't happy. As an Elio fan, I wasn't happy. Overall, I wasn't happy except a Hendrick car won. So, I mean, if I can't have a Kyle Larson win, I might as well have a Hendrick win. And I know I'm going to get a ton of hate for this, but too bad. I have my opinions. I like my driver that likes driving on dirt because I love dirt racing.
Yes. Is that simple?
Yep. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you like, dislike, subscribe, unsubscribe, hit that bell.
Comment, delete, comment.
Yeah, comment, delete, comment. I mean, I'll delete your comment just because this is not a free speech zone. So put your worst takes down in the comment. Leave your best takes to yourself. I don't want to hear those. I want to hear your absolute most horrendous takes. That should be illegal, and we should have government censorship because of your take.
Yep.
Leave that down in the comment.
Joey Logano fans, let's go.
Yeah, Joey Logano fans getting our comments. This is just, it's engagement for us. I can't wait to argue with you on our official company account. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Adios.